So, ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to watch me defend a lady from a bunch of people on the internet, which normally isn't the case because normally I'm the one that's usually throwing all the shade. But before I get to that, ladies, have you ever thought to yourself that your riding skills might not be all that good? Has your man made it seem like you have pathetic riding skills and that's why he's gone with a side chick instead of you? Have you ever thought to yourself that if the chance arrived, you'd probably take it in learning how to ride dick? Well, someone in the US has actually listened to whatever complaints it is that you might have had regarding that and has started a dick riding school for women. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when you kinda look at it, it seems like a particularly good idea because it's a dance teacher, so she has a bit of, knowledge in terms of moving her hips and shit, and babes can benefit from this. The only thing is, I'm sort of surprised that she didn't open it up to corporate because I believe that corporate employees would enjoy this just as much, especially considering that most of them will need to use this skill just to go up that ladder, and that's regardless of gender.
Get ready for the battle of the sexes.
Now, the person to thank for this very nice innovation is a dance trainer from Maryland in the US of A who has clearly understood that a lot of us men are suffering and a lot of babes are losing it to side chicks simply because they do not know how to ride. Now, this kind of training has actually caught on so much hype that she's actually been doing like an entire US tour for the entire thing. Now, the unfortunate side of it is she hasn't branched out outside of the US, and I've got to admit it kind of makes me feel a little sad because I know there's a lot of our Kenyan babes that would genuinely actually grow from such an experience. It actually learn quite a lot, so that they can do more than just hop on the dick for about 5 times before that check engine light comes on. Like, this is some shit that a lot of babes would actually genuinely learn from. And I sort of wish that there was like an online class for it, although I think in some way or another, she probably might not be able to teach everyone individually how to do it as of right now. But I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at the videos where she's promoting all of this, and for some weird reason, like 80-90% of the babes that are in these videos are like plus sized babes. Barely any white women, which kind of makes me wonder if white guys just don't like it when a babe rides the dick, or maybe they have their own secret special way of riding dick that they've never revealed to black people. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Maybe. I'm just saying. But all in all, I do really commend her for what it is that she's doing. Like, I feel like it's a genuinely good thing. And considering a lot of African culture involved people getting sex talk and being taught how to have sex and how to ride dick and shit, I feel like she's sort of taking it back to the roots in a certain way. And I kind of commend that, because I feel like in as much as we're losing our African culture, some things can be brought back, shit like that. And while them thick babes are at it, they can also learn how to throw it back and shit. And maybe, just maybe, y'all can make us make some really, really good sounds in the bedroom that sort of would come from something sounding really pleasurable. Something kind of like me when I start the podcast by saying, welcome to Breaktime on Westside, your number one Breaktime podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is a man who now wants to take his pony to the US of A, because for the first time, I'm actually sure that there's someone there who can probably ride it. He's a man who still adds running his mouth to the list of cardio exercises for the week. It is none other than your tall, dark, and mildly handsome man, Sir Denver B. The show is Battle of the Sexes, our weekly love, sex, and relationships show, where I get to talk about stuff that, involves riding dick. I may talk about young babes once or twice. Normally someone gets pissed, but at some point, I usually come to a conclusion. And if you do like the conclusion, if you don't like it, if you agree, if you disagree, if you have some feedback to give, then the place to send it to is at Breaktime on Westside on IG. The DMs are always open there. On Facebook as well, it is at Breaktime on Westside, and on Twitter, if you want to slide into my personal DMs, it is at Bagaka the D. Reach out, throw some love, give that feedback, and let's take that shit and move it on. We can even make more and better topics from the stuff that we talk about in the DMs. And if you are listening from an app that allows for ratings and or reviews, then a nice rating and or review on the podcast would be highly appreciated. Helps me climb up the charts and shit, so that I can continue calling myself a chart-topping podcaster, because I believe that I'm a chart-topping podcaster, present and future tense included. So instead of me manifesting it, let's make this shit a reality, right? But anyways, that said, we do need to move it on to our main topic of today, because I believe I have a lot of ranting to do. But before I get to that rant, I want to talk about something real quick before. And it's the role that parents have in like their kids' love lives. Because I feel like to a certain degree, back in the day, there was a bit of like an involved role, probably because, your parents were probably the ones that are helping you get a wife and shit. So, it would probably be good if my dad knew that I liked thick women, like 100 or 200 years ago or some shit. But nowadays, it's not like parents are all that involved when it comes to the kids and younger adults' love lives and shit. So it's very common to not really know the kind of person that your kid wants to marry up until they decide to introduce you when, they're coming to ask for your blessing and shit. So in some ways, that's kind of how I've gotten used to life being right now. So I found it very surprising when a certain mother blew up on TikTok for a little bit because apparently she decided to answer her son's phone and it was the girlfriend who called, and she decided to blast the son's girlfriend. So I'm gonna play the clip for you for a little bit because I might end up cutting it because it's about 2 minutes long. But either way, I'm gonna have the clip play just so that you can understand the entire context of it before I decide to give my 2 cents on this entire matter. So here it is.
Hey, y'all, to the boy moms, I'm gonna need y'all to come to the front of the line real quick. All the boy moms, yeah, bring y'all ass here. I just need to know if y'all ever been through this before. So my son just turned 16 yesterday. Shout out to him, big 16. And, recently I had went through a situation where his phone was like ringing. And I decided I'm gonna go ahead and answer it, right? Why the fuck did I decide I was gonna answer his phone? Why do that? So in the midst of me, hello, she like, who is this? You answered Keon's phone and I want to know who you are. Now she thought I was one of his little girlfriends, right? She said something, because yeah, you're answering Keon's phone and I want to know who you are. I said, well, who are you? I didn't even want to drop it on her just yet, like as to who I was, right? Because I'm the HBIC in this motherfucker, shorty, and you just a little tag along at this point. But in any event, I digress. Who are you? No, I think you should tell me who you are because I'm his girlfriend. I said, oh, you one of them. That is so funny. Well, I'm his mother. Yeah. It's me. Yeah. And quite frankly, I'm going to be the only other girl that's going to be answering his phone. And not for nothing, you on your way out, baby. I just want you to know that. Yeah. See, you too busy worrying about what else Keon got going on. And you ain't worried about my baby. Yeah, you're done. I just want you to know that. But it's okay, baby. Have your fun. You just caught yourself trying to check his mom about answering his phone and you ain't even know it because you're so stupid. But it's okay, girl. I'm going to tell my baby you called, okay? And I'm going to be sure to tell him that you tried to check me about answering his phone, even though you ain't know who I was. But you should have played it safe. And you probably wouldn't have to worry about losing my baby. But good luck next time.
All right. So this is a bit hard to do. Like, normally I never say this, and I've tried to avoid saying it at all costs for the longest time. But for the sake of this particular case, this first time, and I'm hoping it'll be the last, I am going to say the one thing that a bunch of other babes on the internet usually say. You know what? You might as well go ahead and marry your own son. Like, honestly. Because if you have the nerve to check his phone, or more like to pick up his phone when someone's calling and it's his girlfriend and you are checking, another teenager's phone. Like, the girlfriend is probably like, what, 16, maybe 15, if not 14, probably 17 at the most if, he decided to date up a little bit. And you decide to check his phone and you tell her that she's not gonna survive with him. Come on, bruh. Like, women, aren't you like, I don't know. Considering that that's the mother, I'd assume that she's probably mid-30s, if not early to mid-40s or some shit. Like, why the hell are you checking your son's girlfriend, your teenage son's girlfriend? Like, isn't that a little too overprotective? Plus, on top of that, like, you just decided to let out that he had other bitches. Like, first of all, that's snitching. And honestly, that's just wrong. You don't snitch, especially on your own son. Like, what kind of a mother are you? But that's sort of besides the point. I'm not focusing on the snitching, I'm focusing on this other bit. Like, personally for me, I've always had a problem dealing with teenagers, like on an intimate level. The closest thing I've had to something intimate with a teenager was when I was trying to have a thing with some shorty soon after she had turned 18 and I was like 22. And I kid you the hell not, like the sense of entitlement, the desire to be seen by other people and shit, like I honestly got tired of that shit very quickly. And I just couldn't deal with the kind of arguments and kind of standoffs that I'd be having with this shorty. Now, you're telling me that a woman who's like, what, close to double my age is going up against a shorty that is in her teens and she's not fed up? Like, is it just me, or is this woman, this grown-ass woman, probably one of the most immature ones that we've seen on the internet? Because honestly, this is some immature shit. Like, I can barely hold a conversation with someone who's like 18 and I'm in my 20s. Like right now I'm in my mid 20s and that time I was in my early 20s. You're telling me that you who's like 30 something, 40 something is able to hold a conversation and, you know, check a shorty in her teens who is not even 18 or 17 but like 16 or 15 or some shit. Like, I don't know. Either you're immature because you need to stoop down to that level for you to actually have like a talk down session with this other shorty, or you're overprotective as fuck and you might as well marry your own son. Either way, I'm guessing Kian at this point in time wished that she just swallowed the nut instead of letting Kian's biological father nut inside, because my goodness, this is embarrassing as fuck. But anyways, all that said and done, we do definitely need to move it on to our main topic of today. Now, there's this video that sort of has been doing rounds on the internet for a bit. So it's been thrown around IG on a couple of pages, but it was from a YouTube dating show called The Pineapple Show. And it's hosted by a lady called Melly Monaco. And what she usually does is she brings on certain babes that would like to meet certain guys. And once she sort of introduces the babe, the guy sort of pops up. And the rule of thumb, I guess, is you guys sort of have a conversation, you guys introduce yourselves, you know, you say a little bit about yourselves. Then if at any point the girl doesn't want to continue, all she has to do is say pineapple and the guy will get booted out from the show. Simple, all right? Now, there was a particular episode that happened, I guess, probably about a week or two, if not 3 weeks ago, where this particular babe was introduced to a nuclear physicist. This guy is like 27 years old, and the guy talked about all his achievements, how he's been in uni, and, you know, the fact that he's like in the Navy and shit. And at some point, shorty said pineapple. And this guy was like really smart, and, you know, he seems like he had his life held together. Now, I'm gonna play the clip for you just so that you can understand. Then I'll talk about how people reacted to it and my thoughts on the entire thing. So let me just play it for you. So here it is.
You're reading?
Yeah, I was actually reading. I ship out in a few days, so I was just reading The Art of Strategy.
Okay.
For the military?
Yeah, so actually I'm a nuclear physicist for the Navy.
No.
So I do that in a few days.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
How old are you?
I am 27. I look a little young. I'm not that young.
Yeah, you look young.
So where do you live?
So I'm actually in the Woodlands, Texas right now. Right down there by Houston. I'm about 30 minutes away from Houston. So I'm a little close.
Oh, nice. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
Man, where do I start? I like martial arts a lot. I did a bit of pharmacy back when I was a little bit younger, about 2-3 years ago. I got certified at pharmacy around when I was 17. I didn't really do anything with it. I went to university for a while. I was getting like a business degree. So I have a bachelor's in business. And then I did pharmacy for a little while, for about 3 years, and then got bored. So I was like, let's go see what the military has to offer. Didn't do anything. I did my PICAT about a year ago, got a 96 on that. It goes up to a 99, got a 96. They offered me nuclear physics, and I was like, why the fuck not? So I went there, and now I ship out in a few days.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, best of luck as you ship out pineapples.
Yeah. Why?
Because he literally didn't tell me any qualities about himself. He's just like, I made a 96 on this. I did this. And I feel like I did that at first too. But however, I need a man with some personality.
You felt that quick? You know he didn't have personality?
Yes, I'm really good at reading people.
Okay.
All right, so that's the clip. That's the clip that's been moving around quite a bit. And the interesting thing is when you look at the comment section of all the different pages that had this clip up, and they usually ask, you know, did she do the right thing? You know, was her decision a good one and shit? Like, the comment section just filled with babes and guys that are like, oh, this babe missed out on a great guy. This guy sounds really nice. Some babes are saying that he's a particularly good looking guy and he still looks young and shit, even though he's 27, and that's a good thing. And people were really taking a dump on this babe. Like, they really took a dump on her. And of course, shit like this usually ends up on YouTube, and some guys in, you know, podcasts and commentaries that talk about relationships and guy shit, you know, they just so happen to have picked it up. So I will admit for a fact that when I saw this clip the first time on IG, I automatically wrote this babe off, and I was like, oh, she doesn't understand what a high value guy is. She's probably looking for some guy that's just, you know, into fast money and shit. Or, you know, she doesn't know what it is that she wants. But now the interview happened, like the post-show interview, and they did it with, I think it was Crew Season on YouTube. And these guys were sort of asking her questions, and they had brought the original host, Melly Monaco, so that they can have this entire discussion on why it is apparently people have such an issue with it. And the interesting thing is, while I was against her the entire time, when I listened to bits of that interview, at some point, the moment that they said that her age was 23, I automatically just flipped. Like, everything stopped for me, and I even paused the video. Because when I actually stopped and thought about it for a second, I was like, wait, you're telling me that we've been doing all of this, like guys have been taking a dump on this babe and she's 23. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I can get that people will make their comments on such shit and they'll talk about how this guy is, you know, a really good guy and anyone would be glad. But this shorty just straight up said she just wanted a guy with a good personality. Like, she was looking for the personality. She didn't care all that much about this guy. So while people were busy tearing her up on the internet and shit, I stopped for a second and it actually just occurred to me, we've probably been doing this shit a little wrong. Like, I feel as though the whole relationship topic, and especially how a lot of people have been doing it on the internet, is probably starting to get a little out of hand. Because when you think about it, she's a 23-year-old. She's probably in university, if not finishing, or she literally just got done with university like a very short while ago. And when you kind of think about it, it's not like babes would be looking for a high value man that makes good money, that's supposed to treat her right, blah blah. Like, that's not what you expect from a babe who literally just got done with campus. Like, when you kind of think about it, or at least the way I thought about it, like back when I was 23, the babes that I was talking to and the interests that they had nothing to do with what it is that they wanted, like a year or so after they were out of school, because that's when their interests changed. That's when they started wanting a high net worth individual, you know, a high value guy, you know, a guy that makes good money, that, you know, can splurge on them a little bit here and there, you know, can take care of bills and shit. That's when those requirements started popping up. But back in uni, that's not something that us guys wanted. Because uni is sort of like a free trial of the good life, where it's like stuff isn't all that expensive. People aren't entirely all about money, and for the most part, most people are literally just trying to have fun and exploring the most out of themselves. So to want a guy with a good personality is pretty standard. Like, this shorty hasn't been beaten up by life and adulting to start saying that she wants a high value guy or anything. And the thought that, oh, she just wants a guy with fast money who can do blah blah blah, I think is probably an overreach, and is just an assumption that a lot of people were making because she turned down a guy that seems like he makes a decent income and he doesn't really do all that much that's like celebrity level to be talked about. Because even when you go back and listen to Raw Zone episode 9, an episode that I did 2 weeks ago before this clip came out with like everything that everyone was busy saying, I made sure I even pointed it out. Babes and their interests usually change over time. Like, what a babe wanted when she was at the age of 14 years old is going to be very different from what she wants from a guy at the age of 20 years old. if you feel like that one's even a little bit too far in the name of range, what a babe wants at the age of like 16, 17, hell, maybe even 18, is gonna be very different from what a babe wants from the age of like 21, 22. You know, it's gonna be different from what a babe wants when she's at the age of 25, 26, 27. So to think that these guys were expecting that babe to have, you know, the requirements down for like a guy she'd want to marry at the age of 22, 23, where she's still probably in her adventurous stage, still exploring and shit, is a bit of an overreach. Because I do not think that most of these requirements that babes might have when they're like having these discussions right now would really apply to this babe, not unless if she was like 25 going up. And for a good chunk of people on the internet to start ostracizing and talking shit about her because she dropped this guy because she felt like this guy didn't have any personality was a little too harsh on the internet side. And honestly, I kind of do side with her. The guy listed everything that he is, but he never really said what it is that he likes. He didn't say, you know, whether he's a funny guy, you know, what he enjoys doing and shit. He didn't show anything about his personality. He simply showed what he has done and what it is that he is doing. Like, that is accomplishments. Accomplishments do not determine personality. The guy could have been an asshole and you wouldn't know from his accomplishments. The guy could have been the nicest human being on the planet and you would not have known from his accomplishments. But all in all, I guess maybe I might be wrong. Maybe I don't understand what 23-year-olds want. Maybe their interests and preferences in men have matured way more than I was being told when I was 23 and finishing campus. But all in all, I personally feel like people were too harsh on this babe, and I feel like in terms of her age and where she probably is at in life, what it is that she wanted, what it is that she was looking for, and what it is that she got sort of validated her reaction to the entire thing. But then again, like I said, I might be wrong about this entire thing, so I want your thoughts on it. The DMs are open. On IG, it is at Breaktime on Westside. On Facebook, it is also at Breaktime on Westside. And on Twitter, you can slide into my personal DMs, which is at Bagaka the D. Thank you so much for listening all the way till the end, and if you are listening through Castbox, feel free to drop your thoughts and comments below, and I will attend to them accordingly. And I will catch you guys on the next break.